All right, this comes amid a mental health crisis involving young people. Gen Zers have reported the poorest mental health of any generation, and that's according to a recent report from Gallup and the Walton Family Foundation. Gen Z includes people aged roughly from 12 to 27, and experts point to the lasting impacts of COVID, the tendencies to socialize online rather than in person, how they perceive the state of the world, that they believe it's more dangerous, and their internet connectedness often working against them rather than for them. So here to talk about this with me is clinical psychologist Dr. Jeffrey Garter. Thank you for joining us to talk about this. It's such a crucial topic that affects so many families across this country. How would you characterize the mental health of our young people right now?
Well, I would say right now it's very grave. What we're seeing from all of the things you just talked about, especially from the pandemic, is that we see rates of anxiety, depression, suicide. As a matter of fact, more than 1 in 5 high school students seriously considered suicide in 2021, and that's according to the CDC. And then, of course, we know that there is a big issue as far as isolation, and many of our young people are just connecting too often on their devices and on the internet, and not enough of that face-to-face, person-to-person contact. And all of those things actually contribute to those rising mental illness issues.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess a follow-up to that is how much of this is heightened mental health concerns versus, you know, we as a society having a better understanding of our mental health needs? Is it, you know, being able to call it out, and that's why it feels like there's more of this?
I think there is much more of it. But there is also the point that you make that the recognition of it is also there. What came first, the chicken or the egg? I think because we see the seriousness of these mental health issues, it has forced us to recognize and be able to identify at the earliest stages what's going on and taking action, which is what we see that many communities are doing right now.
Let's talk about that, because, you know, when we lay out all of the reasons why this is happening, you go, where do you begin?
From the very beginning. And what we're seeing is the issue is that we're waiting for mental illness and treating it instead of looking at actual mental wellness, mental health, working on that. Just as we work on our physical health, we should be working on our mental health and strengthening that. The other thing, of course, is we have to see that school-based programs have to be much more involved. It's not just about the counseling, which is absolutely fantastic. We see more and more young people, Lauren, actually going into therapy, recognizing the use of therapy, but the schools have to have K through 12 curricula on handling stress, on building their resilience, and of course, on connecting with one another much more, and in many ways enhancing what we're seeing as something that we're losing in schools: more time in sports, more time in music, languages, and after school clubs and activities. Those things are really important.
Yeah, and that makes sense, because those are such social components of going to school. But, you know, what strikes me about that is you said it's not even about having counselors in schools, but having a curriculum is, I believe, what you said in regards to mental health.
Yes.
I feel like that's the first that I've heard of something like that. Is there a school district or a place that you know where this is being implemented and seeing some results out of having it in existence?
Well, this is now a national initiative in getting more and more schools to have these curricula on handling stress, on looking at mental wellness and mental health, on being literate as to what mental health and mental illness may be. Now, here's the scary thing, Lauren. We're seeing that there are some states who do not want to teach Black history, who do not want to teach respect of students in respecting other students, who think that emotional IQ and emotional intelligence should not be taught in schools. And that is something that is extremely destructive. So we have to come together. This has to be something where this is not a Democratic issue or a Republican issue. This should be a parental and national issue that we work on together.
Clinical psychologist Dr. Jeffrey Gardere, thank you so much for being with us and sharing your expertise and insight. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Lauren.
And coming up next, civil war.